U.S. Army Pontiac,
the U.S. Army Pontiac,
and the U.S. Army Pontiac,
and the U.S. Army Pontiac,
the U.S. Army Pontiac,
the U.S. Army Pontiac,
the Net Zero Pontiac,
the Net Zero Pontiac,
and the Net Zero Pontiac,
and the Net Zero Pontiac,
the Net Zero Pontiac,
the Net Zero Pontiac,
the Pfizer Ford,
the Pfizer Ford,
and the Pfizer Ford,
and the Pfizer Ford,
the Pfizer Ford,
the Pfizer Ford,
the Granger Ford,
the Granger Ford,
and the Granger Ford,
and the Granger Ford,
the Granger Ford,
the Granger Ford,
the Stacker 2 Dodge,
the Stacker 2 Dodge,
and the Stacker 2 Dodge,
and the Stacker 2 Dodge,
the Stacker 2 Dodge,
the Stacker 2 Dodge,
the M&M's Ford,
the M&M's Ford,
and the M&M's Ford,
and the M&M's Ford,
the M&M's Ford,
the M&M's Ford,
the Haviland Dodge,
the Haviland Dodge,
and the Haviland Dodge,
and the Haviland Dodge,
the Haviland Dodge,
the Haviland Dodge,
the Georgia Pacific Dodge,
the Georgia Pacific Dodge,
and the Georgia Pacific Dodge,
and the Georgia Pacific Dodge,
the Georgia Pacific Dodge,
the Georgia Pacific Dodge,
the Army National Guard Ford,
the Army National Guard Ford,
and the Army National Guard Ford,
and the Army National Guard Ford,
the Army National Guard Ford,
the Army National Guard Ford,
the Aaron's Rent Chevrolet,
the Aaron's Rent Chevrolet,
and the Aaron's Rent Chevrolet,
and the Aaron's Rent Chevrolet,
the Aaron's Rent Chevrolet,
the Aaron's Rent Chevrolet,
the WiredFlyer.com Ford,
the WiredFlyer.com Ford,
and the WiredFlyer.com Ford,
and the WiredFlyer.com Ford,
the WiredFlyer.com Ford,
the WiredFlyer.com Ford,
the ConAgra Foods Chevrolet,
the ConAgra Foods Chevrolet,
and the ConAgra Foods Chevrolet,
and the ConAgra Foods Chevrolet,
the ConAgra Foods Chevrolet,
the ConAgra Foods Chevrolet,
the Yellow Freight Dodge,
the Yellow Freight Dodge,
and the Yellow Freight Dodge,
and the Yellow Freight Dodge,
the Yellow Freight Dodge,
the Yellow Freight Dodge,
the Geico Chevrolet,
the Geico Chevrolet,
and the Geico Chevrolet,
and the Geico Chevrolet,
the Geico Chevrolet,
the Geico Chevrolet,
the Supercut Chevrolet,
the Supercut Chevrolet,
and the Supercut Chevrolet,
and the Supercut Chevrolet,
the Supercut Chevrolet,
the Supercut Chevrolet,
the Payday Chevrolet,
the Payday Chevrolet,
and the Payday Chevrolet,
and the Payday Chevrolet,
the Payday Chevrolet,
the Payday Chevrolet,
the Dr. Pepper Dodge,
the Dr. Pepper Dodge,
and the Dr. Pepper Dodge,
and the Dr. Pepper Dodge,
the Dr. Pepper Dodge,
the Dr. Pepper Dodge,
the Toys R Us Chevrolet,
the Toys R Us Chevrolet,
and the Toys R Us Chevrolet,
and the Toys R Us Chevrolet,
the Toys R Us Chevrolet,
the Toys R Us Chevrolet,
the Albertsons Chevrolet,
the Albertsons Chevrolet,
and the Albertsons Chevrolet,
and the Albertsons Chevrolet,
the Albertsons Chevrolet,
the Albertsons Chevrolet,
the Kingsford Ford,
the Kingsford Ford,
and the Kingsford Ford,
and the Kingsford Ford,
the Kingsford Ford,
the Kingsford Ford,
the CNC Boiler Ford,
the CNC Boiler Ford,
and the CNC Boiler Ford,
and the CNC Boiler Ford,
the CNC Boiler Ford,
the CNC Boiler Ford,
the Cyclone Chevrolet,
the Cyclone Chevrolet,
and the Cyclone Chevrolet,
and the Cyclone Chevrolet,
the Cyclone Chevrolet,
the Cyclone Chevrolet,
the Waterloo Tool Storage Chevrolet,
the Waterloo Tool Storage Chevrolet,
and the Waterloo Tool Storage Chevrolet,
and the Waterloo Tool Storage Chevrolet,
the Waterloo Tool Storage Chevrolet,
the Waterloo Tool Storage Chevrolet,
the Menard Chevrolet,
the Menard Chevrolet,
and the Menard Chevrolet,
and the Menard Chevrolet,
the Menard Chevrolet,
the Menard Chevrolet,
The Warranty Gold Chevrolet.
The Warranty Gold Chevrolet.
And the Warranty Gold Chevrolet.
And the Warranty Gold Chevrolet.
The Warranty Gold Chevrolet.
The Warranty Gold Chevrolet.
The Stay Right Industries Dodge.
The Stay Right Industries Dodge.
And the Stay Right Industries Dodge.
And the Stay Right Industries Dodge.
The Stay Right Industries Dodge.
The Stay Right Industries Dodge.
The Food Country USA Chevrolet.
The Food Country USA Chevrolet.
And the Food Country USA Chevrolet.
And the Food Country USA Chevrolet.
The Food Country USA Chevrolet.
The Food Country USA Chevrolet.
The Cellular One Chevrolet.
The Cellular One Chevrolet.
And the Cellular One Chevrolet.
And the Cellular One Chevrolet.
The Cellular One Chevrolet.
The Cellular One Chevrolet.
The MBNA Pontiac.
The MBNA Pontiac.
And the MBNA Pontiac.
And the MBNA Pontiac.
The MBNA Pontiac.
The MBNA Pontiac.
The Hooters Ford.
The Hooters Ford.
And the Hooters Ford.
And the Hooters Ford.
The Hooters Ford.
The Hooters Ford.
The Rubbermaid Sharpie Ford.
The Rubbermaid Sharpie Ford.
And the Rubbermaid Sharpie Ford.
And the Rubbermaid Sharpie Ford.
The Rubbermaid Sharpie Ford.
The Rubbermaid Sharpie Ford.
The Give Kids the World Pontiac.
The Give Kids the World Pontiac.
And the Give Kids the World Pontiac.
And the Give Kids the World Pontiac.
The Give Kids the World Pontiac.
The Give Kids the World Pontiac.
The Kikkoman Ford.
The Kikkoman Ford.
And the Kikkoman Ford.
And the Kikkoman Ford.
The Kikkoman Ford.
The Kikkoman Ford.
The Interstate Battery Chevrolet.
The Interstate Battery Chevrolet.
And the Interstate Battery Chevrolet.
And the Interstate Battery Chevrolet.
The Interstate Battery Chevrolet.
The Interstate Battery Chevrolet.
The Sterling Marlin Dodge.
The Sterling Marlin Dodge.
And the Sterling Marlin Dodge.
And the Sterling Marlin Dodge.
The Sterling Marlin Dodge.
The Sterling Marlin Dodge.
The Alltel Dodge.
The Alltel Dodge.
And the Alltel Dodge.
And the Alltel Dodge.
The Alltel Dodge.
The Alltel Dodge.
The Staff America Chevrolet.
The Staff America Chevrolet.
And the Staff America Chevrolet.
And the Staff America Chevrolet.
The Staff America Chevrolet.
The Staff America Chevrolet.
The Kodak Max Film Pontiac.
The Kodak Max Film Pontiac.
And the Kodak Max Film Pontiac.
And the Kodak Max Film Pontiac.
The Kodak Max Film Pontiac.
The Kodak Max Film Pontiac.
The Home Depot Chevrolet.
The Home Depot Chevrolet.
And the Home Depot Chevrolet.
And the Home Depot Chevrolet.
The Home Depot Chevrolet.
The Home Depot Chevrolet.
The Team Rusty Dodge.
The Team Rusty Dodge.
And the Team Rusty Dodge.
And the Team Rusty Dodge.
The Team Rusty Dodge.
The Team Rusty Dodge.
The Todd Bodine Chevrolet.
The Todd Bodine Chevrolet.
And the Todd Bodine Chevrolet.
And the Todd Bodine Chevrolet.
The Todd Bodine Chevrolet.
The Todd Bodine Chevrolet.
The Jeff Burton Ford.
The Jeff Burton Ford.
And the Jeff Burton Ford.
And the Jeff Burton Ford.
The Jeff Burton Ford.
The Jeff Burton Ford.
The David Green Pontiac.
The David Green Pontiac.
And the David Green Pontiac.
And the David Green Pontiac.
The David Green Pontiac.
The David Green Pontiac.
The Waterloo Tool Storage Pontiac.
The Waterloo Tool Storage Pontiac.
And the Waterloo Tool Storage Pontiac.
And the Waterloo Tool Storage Pontiac.
The Waterloo Tool Storage Pontiac.
The Waterloo Tool Storage Pontiac.
The Shane Hall Chevrolet.
The Shane Hall Chevrolet.
And the Shane Hall Chevrolet.
And the Shane Hall Chevrolet.
The Shane Hall Chevrolet.
The Shane Hall Chevrolet.
The AC Delco Chevrolet.
The AC Delco Chevrolet.
And the AC Delco Chevrolet.
And the AC Delco Chevrolet.
The AC Delco Chevrolet.
The AC Delco Chevrolet.
The Alice Cooper Pontiac.
The Alice Cooper Pontiac.
And the Alice Cooper Pontiac.
And the Alice Cooper Pontiac.
The Alice Cooper Pontiac.
The Alice Cooper Pontiac.
The Dan Parta Chevrolet.
The Dan Parta Chevrolet.
And the Dan Parta Chevrolet.
And the Dan Parta Chevrolet.
The Dan Parta Chevrolet.
The Dan Parta Chevrolet.
The GMAC Chevrolet.
The GMAC Chevrolet.
And the GMAC Chevrolet.
And the GMAC Chevrolet.
The GMAC Chevrolet.
The GMAC Chevrolet.
The Aaron Chevrolet.
The Aaron Chevrolet.
And the Aaron Chevrolet.
And the Aaron Chevrolet.
The Aaron Chevrolet.
The Aaron Chevrolet.
The Stacker 2 Pontiac.
The Stacker 2 Pontiac.
And the Stacker 2 Pontiac.
And the Stacker 2 Pontiac.
The Stacker 2 Pontiac.
The Stacker 2 Pontiac.
The Tide Pontiac.
The Tide Pontiac.
And the Tide Pontiac.
And the Tide Pontiac.
The Tide Pontiac.
The Tide Pontiac.
The Speed Zone Blocking Car. And the Speed Zone Blocking Car. The Speed Zone Blocking Car. The Speed Zone Drafting Car. And the Speed Zone Drafting Car. The Speed Zone Drafting Car. The Speed Zone Passing Car. And the Speed Zone Passing Car. The Speed Zone Passing Car. The Speed Zone Time Trials Car. And the Speed Zone Time Trials Car. The Speed Zone Time Trials Car. The EA Sports Car. And the EA Sports Car. The EA Sports Car. The Uh-Oh Oreo Ford. And the Uh-Oh Oreo Ford. The Uh-Oh Oreo Ford. The MBNA Chevrolet.
The MBNA Chevrolet.
And the MBNA Chevrolet.
And the MBNA Chevrolet.
The MBNA Chevrolet.
The MBNA Chevrolet.
The Trim Spa Pontiac. And the Trim Spa Pontiac. The Trim Spa Pontiac. The Tina Gordon Car. And the Tina Gordon Car. The Tina Gordon Car. The Autobahn Ford. And the Autobahn Ford. The Autobahn Ford. The MBNA Ford.
The MBNA Ford.
And the MBNA Ford.
And the MBNA Ford.
The MBNA Ford.
The MBNA Ford.